Right, welcome back. The Electoral Commission of South Africa has urged all eligible voters to make use of this weekend's second voter registration weekend by registering and or visiting the more than 23,000 registration stations, or to actually inspect or update their registration details online. Now, this as the Commission is preparing to host this year's national and provincial elections on a date yet to be announced. So to give us some of the latest updates on developments around preparations for not just only this weekend's registration drive, but also just some of your questions overall, we're joined in studio now by the Chairperson of the Electoral Commission of South Africa, Mr. Mosotho Moepya. Mr. Moepya, thanks so much for your time. Welcome to Morning Live.
It's a pleasure to be with you this morning, Sakina.
Mr. Moepya, let me start with the number of voters, because yesterday there was a headline in the news about 27 million registered voters. And this of a cohort of how many exactly, or more or less, voters that are eligible in the country?
Well, it is estimated that we have between 36 and about 40 million South Africans who are eligible to register and to vote. Out of that number, we currently sit with just over 27 million on the voters' roll.
So it is a significant milestone, but there are, of course, evidently quite a sizable number of people who are eligible to vote, but who haven't yet registered. So in terms of that, we have another voter registration weekend this coming weekend. So what do you say to people who haven't yet registered, for whatever reason? Why is it important for them to actually make sure that they are on the voters' roll, whether they ultimately decide to vote or not?
You know, throughout the world, it is a proven phenomenon that where people are required to register before they vote. In other words, registration is a prerequisite for voting. People often, once registration has closed, they often wonder, why did I leave that opportunity and not do it? It's not just a South African phenomenon. It's a phenomenon in democracies around the world. And we want to say to South Africans, don't learn from your own mistakes. Learn from the mistakes that others have committed before you. And I'd call on every one of those that are eligible to register to do so. Registering doesn't force you to vote if you say, my option is not on the ballot, but it gives you an opportunity to vote, for whoever is on the ballot. And if for any reason you choose not to vote, you still have that option. But there's an important reason why registration is important. It creates an opportunity for those who want your vote to listen to you, to say what exactly is it that would cause you to, or cause me as a party or as an independent candidate to be attractive to you as a voter. And I think it is part of shaping that, supply side of elections, where you say, I want to address the needs of these categories of people, and do so because they are on the voters' roll. Remember, political parties look at the voters' roll as they go out and campaign. They say, where are the young people? Where are people of this profile, on the voters' roll? And they go out to attract them. So I'm saying, for all these reasons, it is more important for South Africans to reserve their options and register and vote, as opposed to standing by and watching and hoping something is going to happen. It won't happen.
So with regard to the various categories of people, and you speak of young people, we always hear the calls to encourage young people to go out and vote. Are they actually heeding that call? I am very encouraged, and I'm excited that they are. I think part of the developments that we have seen with the voters' roll net increasing every month is because young people are registering, and many of them are doing so online. And that's a phenomenon that I think is going to be very significant if we are
to consolidate our voters' role, we have to consistently look at opportunities for people to register, find new ways of doing it, platforms that they can engage. And I think the online platform is one of those that has proven to be very, very critical at a time such as this.
The other category of people we've been tracking this week is, of course, inmates and the registration of inmates to vote. Yes. So can you just give us an update on that, Mr. Moepya?
Yes, we had registration in correctional facilities on the 30th of January, the 31st of January, and yesterday, the 1st of February. It has gone really well. This is work that has commenced sometime in the middle of last year, where discussions were held and consultations with the leadership in correctional facilities, where we had to create awareness, work with political parties, and prepare inmates, as it were, to have their identity documents, those that had them at those facilities, to indeed indicate to them that they will be needed for this purpose. But those who did not have them, to get an opportunity to either apply for one or get their family members to send their documents to them in those facilities. We have seen a steady registration happening because they have been well aware. In some of the prisons, we also had political party agents observing that process. I was myself at Sonarwater yesterday, and the process was proceeding extremely well.
And then, of course, internationally, how's it going on the international front, and also particular emphasis on what's happening in Israel, Ukraine, those South Africans who find themselves in those countries, what are the options available to them? Well,
the developments have been very unfortunate in three missions. South Africa has 120 missions across the world. Three of those missions could not register voters because of situations like the ones you indicate in Sudan, in Ukraine, in Israel, in Israel and Palestine. I think these situations are regrettable, but that's a reality we've got to deal with. We keep watching that space. If proclamation were to happen, regrettably, there would not be a physical opportunity to register. So we urge those persons that have not had the opportunity of those missions working to register online. As the situation improves, I'm sure we will find ways to get them to vote, the situation permitting. But for the rest of the world, the opportunity has been provided. All of the missions have opened as we had planned. Not every one of them has registered, given us a good yield, but there have been lots of people that have gone online to register even in missions abroad. We want to encourage them to continue to do so. They can still register today. They can still continue to register until the president proclaims an election day, which has the effect of closing any further registrations for this year's elections.
And of course, South Africans waiting with bated breath for the proclamation by the president. Yes. Do you perhaps have any inside track as to when this is going to happen?
I leave the president to do that, and I'm sure he will.
Do we know whether it's going to be soon, as in over the next few days or weeks?
My good tip is that let's stay ready and alert. There is not much time left. And Sakina, I think it's important that we say to our viewers that, we have seen registration in November take place. We have now seen registration take place across the world for South African citizens in correctional facilities. And we're now going to registration weekend too. The writing is on the wall. We're not going too much further. And so I urge everyone to take this opportunity as a very real, serious last opportunity to register.
And just then, finally, Mr. Moepya, there was concern about the Results Operations Centre, given the dilapidated state of the Pretoria showgrounds, and people were wondering what's going to happen. So is there any clarity at this stage as to where the rock is going to be this time around?
Well, I think this matter is receiving attention at the highest levels within our own institution, the Electoral Commission, and the City of Tshwane, and I'm confident that we will find a solution. The City of Tshwane and us will find a solution to the building that you very well described as dilapidated. We are hoping, and South Africans are used to that facility. We are yourselves are used to that facility, and I think it'll be better. It'll be an excellent thing if that solution would really work in this instance. I'm confident we will find one another.
Mr. Moepya, we are going to leave it there for today, but of course, still so much education and awareness that needs to happen as we lead into the 2024 general election. But thank you so much for stepping in today and just speaking to us about some of the latest developments. Mr. Mosotho Moepya, it was the chairperson of the Electoral Commission of South Africa, talking to us about the IEC's preparations for this weekend's second voter registration weekend leading to the national and provincial elections. And don't forget, you can register online. Don't forget, and if you can't get out, go online and do the registration, and also check your details if you've moved or some of your details have changed. That's where we're going to leave it for now.